Karen was reading the latest report on the Galactic Union species and homeworlds. The spies had done a thoughtful job of gathering information. 15 species had joined together in a union, and the Emperor wanted them crushed and conquered. They could not allow the idea of species coexisting and sharing power to spread. There always had to be one at the top. In this galactic union, it was humans, even if they refused. They were the ones who had devised this unholy idea, and even if the current leader was a Derosian, the humans had a seat at the council, and everybody else also had a place, which was irrelevant. That the latest mining and colony dispute had gone against human interest was clearly a ruse to make the others think they had a say. He scrolled through the description of Earth. A parity level 7 world. Yes, they had predators, but all worlds had those. There were no acid-spitting dragons, no kaiju, only small volcano eruptions. Earthquakes rarely exceeded level 4. Predators were mainly tameable, and the season was stable. Only one major intelligent species survived beyond the Stone Age. Pure paradise. This was why the second half of the report made no sense. The humans themselves were rated as Hellspawn level 10+. How the hell could they reach above the highest rank danger level for a species while coming from a paradise world? He pressed the link to check the Hellspawn list. The ranking went from harmless, standard, tough, predator, warrior, berserker, deathbringer, and finally Hellspawn, with each category ranking 10 points. Each point that they fulfilled would increase their level. He pressed the human link and looked at the request for the Hellspawn status. Glorification of mass murderers and dangerous criminals. Torture of pleasure. Attempted genocide of an ethnic group of its own species. Use of biological weapons on a civilian population. Use of nuclear weapons on a civilian target. Use of chemical weapons on a civilian target. Forced sterilization of unwanted civilians. Accepting terrorism and sabotage of civilian targets during war. Used starvation of civilian targets during wartime. Willing to use scorched planet tactics while retreating. Suicide attacks performed by civilian. Child, not adult nor adolescent, soldiers. Breeding out unwanted ethical groups. Produced world-destroying weapons. They fulfilled each point several times. The worst was the use of nuclear on civilian targets. These maniacs had only used it on 2 civilian targets. He cursed and called in his aide, who came in. You called? Plus, who's the idiot who failed to send this report to the Emperor? He held up the crystal containing the report. I don't understand, sir. What do you mean? They are trying to lure us into a war with Hellspawn. He stood and adjusted his white uniform. His red skin made him look rather glorious. The yellow eyes glared at the aide. Whoever did this should file down their horns. This is insanity. They nuked their own people because it was easier than a long, prolonged fight. And they nuked the civilians, not the leadership. Just 2 cities. They will probably just drop some asteroids on us to save money. You will bring this report to the Emperor and tell him to read up on the classification of the human species. And if he still wants to go to war, then pray we have a chance against a species who thinks war is a bloody game. His tail was standing straight up, and the claws on his fingers had come out in pure frustration.